Välkommen. خوش آمدید. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. Welcome today to this book launch of Farida Ahmadi, 14 Years of Silent Screams. And also next week is Women's Day, and we're also here to celebrate that. My name is Maria Weiss, and I'm going to be your host for the night. I hope you're going to enjoy this night tonight, and let's just have a good night and time together. So this is the program of the night. We just had some Afghan music. It's a poem by a very famous man called Rumi. It's about the nostalgia of leaving the homeland. That was the song that was played all this time. So now I'm just going to welcome all of you. And we will have later a message from Professor Thomas. After that, we will have a speech from Mr. Yusuf Ghafurzai. He's the ambassador, Afghanistan ambassador of Norway. And then Farida will have a message about her supervisor. And we will have another message after that. We will later have a panel and a conversation where we're going to have plenty of conversations and 2 panels. So a first conversation is going to be from the author Farida and her professor Rune, which is head of Social Anthropology Institute in the University of Oslo. There will also be possibilities from the audience to ask questions, so please gather your thoughts, and if you have any questions, just let me know. We will give you the mic, so everyone needs to have a mic when they ask questions, and you have to come up to the stage, but we're going to figure that out. So after that, we're going to have the women's panel. It's going to be a conversation with Fatima, Imtithal, and Mina. Another question with the audience, and a coffee break with some snacks. And then we're going to have Mariam Azimi reciting a poem from the book, from chapter 5. And then it's going to be the last panel with Glenn and Danielle. And we're going to finish off with a dance performance by Cindy Divina. And the last part is a book signing at the bookstore. So, yeah. So this is now the first part. Please welcome Professor Thomas. He has a video message.
Hello, everybody, and especially hello, dear Farida, and congratulations on the publication of a new, expanded, revised, and updated version of your book, which was initially published 14 years ago. I had the pleasure of being Farida's supervisor at the University of Oslo when she wrote the master dissertation on which this book was initially based. It was a very challenging and interesting and useful experience for me. I learned a lot from Farida about the issues faced by the minority women among whom she had been working, and about some of the issues to do with the full participation in Norwegian society, which are often not properly addressed in the public sphere, and certainly not addressed in such a complex and nuanced way as Farida does. Now, the main argument of the book seems to be that the Norwegian state is too multiculturalist, it's too lenient, it's too tolerant, it's too somehow indifferent to the plight of minority women who are facing some particular challenges owing both to their status as women and to their minority status in Norwegian society. However, the book is more subtle than this, because Farida does not argue that everybody should become, like the majority Norwegians in every conceivable way. Rather, she insists on the right to choose for yourself and not be subjected to policies that are well intended, but which may lead to segregation rather than full participation and integration. So there is an argument here that we need to take seriously. And she also shows that there are certain not very visible problems faced by many minority women which they may be reluctant to voice in the public sphere, and they may even be reluctant to voice to interviewers from some kind of social science institute to come into their setting in order to do a survey or a qualitative study of some kind. Farida, having a minority background herself, got to know these women really well. So she knows about their pain, their suffering, their ambivalence, their doubts, and their complex issues to do with participation in Norwegian society. So really, I mean, what she advocates at the end is a position that I would call universalistic pluralism. We live in the same world. We share the same space. We live in the same society. But we need this society to be sufficiently generous to allow for different kinds of adaptation and to treat everybody respectfully. I think that is the main lesson from Farida's book. And again, congratulations. I'm sorry I couldn't be there physically for the launch, but that's how things are sometimes. And have a great launch and a great evening. Bye-bye.
Many thanks to Professor Thomas Hylland Eriksen. Now, please give it up for the Afghanistan Ambassador of Norway.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First, I want to thank the organizers of tonight's special event for making this event possible. And it indeed is a very great pleasure to be part of this event on the launch of Ms. Farida Ahmadi's book, which comes on the eve of International Women's Day, which is less than a week away. Let me first start by saying that those of you who do know Ms. Ahmadi recognize very well that she is someone who has dedicated much of her life to the cause of her people and her country. And she is among many Afghan women that have served in Afghanistan, now abroad, who have contributed to a national struggle for freedom, liberation, stability in the most difficult of situations. She has been an advocate of not just women's rights, but many democratic values, which have been an important part of Afghanistan's long and proud history. The cause for which she and other activists from an older and now new generation are committed is part of our past and also now modern history. Much of her work sheds light on not just on the legacy of the decades-long conflict in Afghanistan, but also on how Afghan women have been the main victims of crises and how they have had to deal with also the psychological impact of conflict. Now, the impact of conflict on women is something that is unfortunately seen too often in many parts of the world, because women and children are always most affected. At the same time, we have seen that the resilience of Afghan women in Afghanistan and elsewhere in the face of immense challenges. Despite all obstacles, they have never given up, and they have continued their struggle to overcome and to make a positive impact in their societies. Therefore, I believe that International Women's Day this year is a moment to first pay tribute to the courage and resilience of women around the world, and secondly, to reaffirm international support for the defense of women's rights and to make new commitments for women's empowerment. Afghan women have again seen their most basic and God-given rights taken away, rights as basic as access to secondary education, the right to work, and the right to take part in political, economic, and social life of their country. Now, I want to make very clear that the policies that have been imposed by the Taliban are in no way a reflection of Afghanistan's culture or national identity. Afghanistan is a proud nation that has embraced democratic values throughout history. Afghan women were the first able to vote in 1919 and have made important contributions in various fields, in politics, in culture, art and innovation, and also the economic life of the country. This clearly reflects the strong link between democracy and women's rights, with Afghanistan's history and also national identity. Despite the current situation, Afghan women are neither passive nor silent. Inside and outside Afghanistan, they are defending not just their rights, but the rights of all Afghans and also all democratic values and principles. Afghan women, including those in the diaspora, I'm glad to see many of them here present tonight, are an important part of the ongoing effort to restore stability and normalcy, which will only be possible with legitimate governance that is based on and which reflects the will of the Afghan people. 18 months after the Taliban's takeover, the international community should adopt a new approach that places the people at the center of all efforts for peace and stability in Afghanistan. The main priority should be the people and their aspirations for the future of their nation, and support for women's rights, of course, should be at the center of this effort. To conclude, I want to again pay tribute to the courage and the determination of all women around the world who have stood and continue to stand up for values that form the very foundation of peaceful and stable societies. Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much for that amazing speech. Now it's time for Farida's message about her supervisor, Knut Kjeldestadli.
Veldig liten, hvordan jeg kan No, I would like to talk about my supervisor. I will thanks a lot because Knut, when I write, and he helped me to every chapter in my book, when I can't understand how to explain globalization and pain, how the three levels of pain and suffering in the body of one person. And he said, please don't read more books, and try to Turkatur and Amina, and said it is in any book you can find. Just write your idea. And today he is very sick, and I wish, dear Knut, I wish that you was here and said my book, and always he said, what I can do for you now, you are in the bed and hospital. And he said, just your book, it is a big gift for me. So much thanks, Knut.
Thank you so much, Farida. Now we have a message from Håkon Øvereås. He is from the publisher house.
Kjære Farida, gratulerer så mye med boka di, og gratulerer med dagen. Jeg skulle så gjerne vært der og feiret kvelden sammen med deg. Det er en stor prestasjon å fullføre et sånt prosjekt som du har gjort. Du har gjort det 2 ganger. Kjære Farida, gratulerer så mye med boka di, og gratulerer med dagen. Jeg skulle så gjerne vært der og feiret kvelden sammen med deg. Det er en stor prestasjon å fullføre et sånt prosjekt som du har gjort. Du har gjort det 2 ganger med denne boka. Jeg som redaktør sitter bare på sidelinja. Jeg kan bare forestille meg hvor mye arbeid du har lagt ned. Jeg synes det er veldig imponerende. Jeg vil også takke for samarbeidet vårt. Det var en krevende periode. Koronasituasjonen gjorde også at du måtte vente veldig mye, men heldigvis har du vært tålmodig. Og det har vært veldig fint å få jobbe med deg. Og veldig fint å jobbe med denne boka, som har en så viktig tematikk med fokus på kvinner som ellers ikke blir sett eller hørt. Jeg ble veldig inspirert av det brennende engasjementet ditt. Hvordan du klarer å skape noe som både berører og øker bevisstheten rundt et så viktig tema. Boka di, den var viktig da den kom ut første gangen. Og med de nye bidragene så har du klart å gjøre den relevant igjen. Og det synes jeg er veldig, veldig imponerende. Til slutt så vil jeg igjen takke for denne opplevelsen. Takke for samarbeidet. Det har vært veldig fint å få jobbe med deg. Og jeg ser veldig frem til hva du vil komme med neste gang. Jeg håper dere koser dere veldig i kveld. At det blir en fin kveld. Takk for meg.
Now it's time for a conversation between the author Farida Ahmadi and the professor Rune Flikke, which is head of the Social Anthropology Institute in the University of Oslo. Please give it up a big hand.
Hallo?
Der er jeg.
Ja.
Greit.
Ja, kanskje.
So, yeah, let's face each other, Farida.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an absolute privilege to be here today and have a chance to talk about your book, your amazing book, which I've been on the sideline of for a long time, since we first met. That must be close to 20 years ago.
Yeah, and the first words about pain learned from you. He teach me about medicine anthropology and learned about pain.
And I would like to start with that pain. I mean, because it's in the title of your book, Tause Skrik, Silent Screams. And we live in a society where the people who scream and talk the loudest are usually the people that are heard. And you are bringing out an important part of Norwegian society that has been muted for a long time. And we talk of muted groups in anthropology, and that's not because people don't speak and don't have words. It's because they speak in a way that the majority and the people with power do not recognize as knowledge or as valuable contribution. But you talk about the silent screams here, and rereading your book again over the past few days, I was reminded by a quote by the psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan, which I really like. And in one place, he said that at times, it is the fact that we don't speak, but we are spoken. And I wonder, what in your mind is the relationship between body and the language?
Yeah. And this is a big question. And I would like to see that it is different between the people, especially women who controlled by pain and women who control her pain. This is two different dimensions. Mm. And we all people, we are emotion. Our emotion tell us about us. And especially women have the highest rationality as their emotion. Without the woman talk with me, I understand the body, the language body, how this woman feel. And this is important, very important observation. It is our main method in social anthropology to see people. And when I saw this woman, they give me a lot of information without to see some words. But this is the way that we can understand and how pain and suffering make people, especially when they controlled by pain. And also, this is my culture. Persian tradition helped me to understand, because in Persian when we see hello, it is take 10 minutes. We see how are you, your father, your mother, when we see Janet Juras, it means your body and your soul. And in the Western tradition is dichotomy, body and soul. This is helped me to understand. For me, the body, when we talked about body, for me, is soul is inside the body. When I talk with Bilqis, for me, Bilqis, the rationality of Bilqis is inside. And in this way, I can describe the pain and suffering of this woman.
Thank you, because that's one of the strengths about your book. It is filled with very interesting and enlightening conversations, but there are also a lot of your collaborators. I don't like to use the word informants.
Yes, okay.
It has this negative connotation for me.
Colonist words.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there are also some that don't want to speak.
Yeah.
But you are able to mix both the good description. And I think Thomas Hylland Eriksen, my colleague, is absolutely right. That you have a genuine access as a minority woman, as somebody who understands without necessarily speaking and coming from the outside. You know what the pain and suffering and the situation is all about. And that is really, really well documented in the book. But a second question, is this because you talk a lot about passive survival strategies versus active. And these are different ways of dealing with your pain and suffering. And I think you were touching it when you said that you can own the pain or the pain can own you, in a sense. Can you explain what you mean by passive survival strategies and how is it played out in some of the lives that you document? This
passive coping strategy, it is something I cry a lot when I study, and I change 3 times my supervisor because it is difficult to understand. And I was have work in 3 places. One is Christian organization, one other from Oslo Kommune, and the third it was psychosocial center for flattening. It was something, it was cost a lot and not work. And one of women was Bilqis. Bilqis, I meet Bilqis through the Christian organization. And in this Christian organization who collaborate with a lot of mosques in Oslo, Bilqis gave a religious text and always have this religious text in the bra. And she gave me one to God protect me. And she said, if you have, you read 100 times, you can have, you sleep, you have all problems gone. And if you read this religious text, in all the night, your dream become realized. And her dream was that Bin Laden come and make Norway successful. And she said, Farida, Bin Laden live in the mountain of Afghanistan. It is no access to food. This man becomes like a soul and just 25 kilo, and he become, nobody can reach it because he is soul, go fly from mountain on Afghanistan, and the American never reach this holy man. And one day she come and ring me that he can't sleep and cry a lot and say, you must come in my home. It was in the Christmas time. And she come, and my children, it was, who is this woman? I said, okay. He come with children. And he said, what is this? It was Yule tree, it was a Christmas tree. And he said, my daughter, celebrate Jesus Fossils Day. And I said, for me, this is some tree, it is with light, my children like it, I not talk about this one day, it is just do it. And she was a lot of conflict with her daughter. She loved own children, but the way it was education from school, the child learned the Norwegian way, and she became more and more Islamic and become nationalist, many nationalism, and develop hate, and they just talk about helvete. What is helvete?
Hell.
Hell and paradise, and just like that. It's a lot of pain and suffering with this woman, and she don't know anything about our right in Norway. Yes.
I think this goes to the heart of your book, and Professor Hylland Eriksen mentioned it as well, and it's your take on multiculturalism as a source of these sufferings. And I mean, as an anthropologist, I used to consider myself a multiculturalist. For me, it was something that enriched the world, to see how many different lives we could actually live and have respect for it. But you forced me to think through this in more detail, to put it mildly. But for you, your understanding of multiculturalism is not positive. For your collaborators, the women you were working with, it became a problem. Can you explain how you look at multiculturalism and go to the heart of why this was part of Elke's problem?
You know, our discipline, social anthropology, it is knowledge about experience. All our knowledge based on experience, other people feel it. And when I said this people, and for me, just some experience in myself. When I come from Beijing Women Conference, then Norwegian newspaper interview with me and write, Muslim Farida have leader for women against fundamentalist. And this newspaper was another interview with Kristen Alversen. I asked the journalist, why you not write Kristen Alversen and you write Muslim Farida. Why? It is something for me to understand what is this. You know, multiculturalism as a concept, as other concept in social anthropology, have a history. When multiculturalism used at the beginning in Richard Tyler, the first name multiculturalism in Canada to talk about right of French people who Englishmen ignored. And he talked about this, that it was in the positive way. At the beginning was you are right, this is the story of 1965, like that. At this time, it was positive. Or Norwegian Sami people in Norway, when they demonstrate in the front of Stortinget, they have Sami clothes, they have telt, and this is the way to struggle for recognition. But now, in our globalized world, is the problem of our time is globalization have a speed, go change society as a light speed. But our knowledge is not parallel. The society is very fast changes, but our knowledge, university is here, not go parallel. And this is the problem. At the beginning, I have the same meaning as you. I called me multiculturalist because all culture, language, it is something beautiful. The different food from Vietnam, from China, it is just joy, the diversity. But when I realize women, that the way they talk, a Christian organization teach Islam, and organization, media against Muslim, and all this one, the way the woman talk, I interview like 300 women, and this woman talk with me. Just I analyze the people, and after talk with Thomas, what is this? And Thomas said, just write. All the woman talk, you just write. And I write it. It is, I have data for many books. In this way, I look at the use of culture, ethnicity, and religion, use in different way. And this, your identity as a individual person is hidden by this three category. And each day is make us and them. And the Norwegian nationalism in the whole, and small Norwegian minority mini nationalism from Afghan, from Pakistani, from all, and they hate each other and make the most bad consequences for Muslim women. And religion used as a power. Just a part of power.
So in other words, it helps shape group identities, and for politicians and the Norwegian institutions, and also organization like Jakob Center, as you call it.
Yes.
They treat people not as individuals, but as representatives from a certain group.
Yes.
With certain characteristics, regardless of who you are on the private side.
Yes.
And in this situation, I guess there are also certain people that gain the right to speak on behalf.
Yeah. Can you please ask me more.
Yes. Who ends up being the spokesperson for Muslim immigrants, from women from Chile, you name it?
Yeah. You know, the problem is when minority, immigrant, be hidden through the culture, religion, and ethnicity. He become the immigrant not a real voice. Other people, media, power talk about them, and the people not think. But it is now the beginning to society to talk, and especially it was interesting that a woman said, I will be imam, and all both Norwegian and Muslim community become very nervous. The woman say, now I can't wash dishes in the mosque. I would like to come in the structure, power structure in this. And this is the problem in society.
I'll get back to one issue that surfaces at a lot of different points in your book and your very rich ethnography. A professor of literature, Elaine Scarry at Harvard University, once wrote, and I quote,
Yes.
"To have a pain is to know. To witness the pain of others is to doubt."
Yeah.
And I think there's something really important in that message, in the sense that pain is the most private thing you can have. It's impossible to doubt it. But witnessing the pain of others, you have to trust words, you have to interpret faces, and they might be lying, cheating you, or whatever. And this seems to be an issue that pops up in a lot of these women's relationship to Nav, sosialkontoret, fastlegen,
Yes.
so on and so forth. Can you say a little bit about how you draw out pain from the private sphere? Because you talk of collective, you talk of global pain, and why that is important.
Yeah. All I learned from the woman, it was so interesting. I gave the Bilqis as an example. When I talk with Bilqis, Bilqis was a woman who washed 32 toilets each day at Telenor. And she lost her job because she was Muslim, she said to me. And when they lose her job, it is the lack of job. It is the first local pain in the soul and body of Bilqis. And when I said the local, national, and global is one relation. You can find that at the body of each woman, for example, Bilqis. When Bilqis talk about nostalgic about her life, our country, and lose country, and it is a lot of nostalgia, like Rumi, when Rumi leave Afghanistan, Balkh, and write about the beautiful poetry about the how to feel to lose own country. And this is second dimension of pain for Bilqis. It is Bilqis just as an example. And when Bilqis go to the doctor that I have wound, pain in the stomach, and the doctor make blodprøve, blood pleasure, blood, what is called in Norwegian? The examination, blood examination, and find all is okay. So Du er frisk som fisk. And the doctor can't understand the feeling of this woman. And after, this woman sent to psychiatry. And this all immigrant become and the private sector is stupid and they must go there, and the private sector is like that. And the third dimension, when Bilqis lose her job, and she cried and she said, my boss like Bush and Sharon. And I said, how you compare a woman, a beautiful Norwegian woman, with Sharon? Sharon means minister, Israeli defense minister, and Bush, George Bush. And so how you can compare? And she laughed. And I said, I think in the hatefulness of eyes of my boss like that, they make me a lot of suffering. This is a dimension of global dimension of pain in the body of one people. And this is make this relation very difficult to understand for Dr. Fastlege to Nav. Nav can't understand. You know, maybe you remember a story of Shugufa from Afghanistan. She was very angry. She was a doctor. No, she was a teacher, and go to Nav to sign this one, to sign this one. And after they say, why you ask me a lot of paper? Go home and read something about your action in Afghanistan. And poor Nav said, what I can do? My problem is I not killed your father. I have my father have any gun. I mean, not your father, your ammunition sent to Afghanistan. It is the poor Norwegian functionaries don't understand what they can answer. Yeah. They not understand each other, because this is the problem of regulative, normative aspect of organization. Society change a lot, but our knowledge, the Nav doctor, it is very not communicated. And the best manner, they said, okay, you are Muslim, go to the mosque, go to, and also Christian organization means to help, nastashariya, to help each other. It is not something wrong, but this is lack of knowledge that make so painful for Norwegian. And Norwegian majority also have a lot of suffering, but they don't talk about this because they are afraid to be called racist. In this way, the problem go in different way because we have not real knowledge of society.
There are many sections of your book that was that made me stop and think, and not only think but feel as well. And I really like that aspect of your work. But there is one section in particular that really struck a chord with me. And in this section, you mix genres of writing. All of a sudden, it's not academic. You come with poems written by your sister.
Yes, yes.
Which I found really, really strong and powerful. And the poem centered on the bed, singing. Can you tell us why the bed became an important part? And why is it so powerful to read about it?
Yeah, this is, I talked with Thomas, and Thomas said, oh, it is a lot of data. Please take this bad story in the next book. We can, you must.
I'm glad you didn't.
And I said, no, the first idea about bait come from Bilqis.
Mm-hmm.
The Bilqis who wish that Ben Laden come to Norway and make Norwegian society just. And he said it was, when I was there, for me, she was like a fundamentalist, and I fight myself against fundamentalists in Afghanistan. When I go to Bilqis, I say it in the way, Farida, you are researcher, you are not activist, you are researcher. You go and meet people with respect. It is painful for me to go and talk with these people that was in the Pakistan. I was in the jail. I was afraid to talk with kind people. But when I was there, and she looked around and said, this is the bed of my children. It is so beautiful. The same standard with the Norwegian home for children. And come the salon, and after in the kitchen, and he said, and cry and said, this is my bed, this is my grave. It was so strong for me. Why this woman compare bed in all culture have concept, a metaphor for joy, for glad, for love, and why this woman said like that? It was the first, and she had a lot of problem. The husband died, and the young child, and she said, if you married some people, I will kill you. And this woman, a lot of problem in the body of mind, that journey shugufa. And always talk, they can't smile, because the pain and suffering liar is bigger, and he can't understand. And from bed, I come to write about recognition. We all, the minority women have lack of recognition. By recognition, I mean all human need for love, for on right, for the solidarity. And the poor Bilqis don't understand own right. I said, why you cry this Bush and Sharon? I will help you to write a complaint. We have fantastic system in Norway. Du kan klage retten. We have right to we can write together about the hatefulness of your chef. We must do it. And he don't understand. And the organization, Muslim organization, respect for religion, Christian organization, give the more religion, and he become more hateful and can't understand.
Yeah. And for me, it really struck a chord here. Our dear Maria there is pushing me on, but I would like to ask one final question, a personal question, if you don't mind. You write a lot about pain and suffering, and it's a lot of it in this book. Racism, violence, it's all there. And these are heavy topics. Brings out a lot of tears.
Yes.
And at the same time, you sit there smiling and laughing. And you are the founder of the Global Happiness Foundation, which is, how can you be against that? It's a fantastic, where do you find your optimism and your zeal in life to go on, to push on?
You know, it is so dark time war, sadness. But the first of all, I learned from my father. My father was Sufi and always think the positive way. It is a branch of Sufism who work the philosophy is to be through the glad and happiness you can reach reality, you can change society, and therefore they sing the poetry, and this is a very, very rich tradition. I would like that talk more in our institute to understand. But it is not easy to be happy, but for me, happiness, it is something to my survivor strategy. And I learned also when I was in the jail. When I was in the jail, they said, yeah, you are here, you die in the jail, you be 25 years in the jail, and all picture is dying, torture. And I use the music in my mind. Man, I am free tulipan. I read this one, and I try to keep hope and optimist. But now in Norway, I think happiness and hope, it is my duty and my goal for. And now, through the all women I study, my home is not just Afghanistan or Norway. My home is our planet. We are one common home. It is our planet. We must do this together and do it well. A lot of distraction, but I try to survive with global happiness. Thank you.
That's a great place to stop.
Thank you.
So, and thank you for inviting me. I feel privileged to have a chance to be here and talk with you. And again, congratulations with an excellent book. And I must really, really praise you for the fantastic ethnography. You really you bring up to the surface new material and voices that needs to be heard. So again, thank you so much, Farida.
Tusen tack.
Thank you so much. And before you leave, I just want to ask the audience, is there anyone who has a question for them?
Yeah.
Could you please come and ask them? Thank you.
Kanskje de har noe question? Yeah?
Yeah, you can stay if you want.
Okay. Yeah? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Doesn't work.
You can.
Okay. Hello. Hi. Thank you very much. That was lovely. And thank you very much, Professor. My question was actually to the panel and the professor as well.
You can come.
That would be great. Before I ask the question, so I think love is the answer. So just like you, planet Earth. And I was born and raised in Iran. And I couldn't help but notice that when the ambassador was talking, he opened his conversation with "in the name of Allah," which means that he's a Muslim, right? And having lived in Iran, I have lost relatives in the name of Islam, being raped and killed in prison. And I just wanted to know, when we're talking about anthropology, it's impossible to not talk about religion. Is it possible to believe in a tyrannical system which treats women as second citizens and yet still be happy and help women and treat them equal? I don't know the answer. I don't want to be controversial, but I really genuinely want to know what you think about that. Thank you.
Yeah. My teacher first.
Okay. Thank you, Farida. I didn't expect that. And I sit here as a white male. I'm neither a Muslim nor... But I think it's important to speak up against injustice, whether it's cloaked in religion or politics or any kind of ideology. But at the same time, I think the wonder, you talked about one world, and the wonder that life actually is, I think, is central in all religions. And there is something that has happened here that is political, and you are talking about the global dynamics, the power of the global north, and the injustices that occurred with capitalism. But also why I love the story about the beds is that it is a story of a past that was good, that was safe, where women got an education, where they worked, where they had self-esteem, and these things have been destroyed. So I can say I grew up in a Christian family setting myself, but I'm not a Christian anymore for partly the same reasons that you brought up. Because I was witnessing intolerance, strict definitions of what the world is and should be like. So a lot of people fell out of it. And so for that reason, I agree we should have respect, because there is a religious dynamic, I think, to all life. It's wonderful, and it's magic, and there's so much we don't understand. But at the same time, we need, and that's where your book is becoming very strong as well, we need to respect each other as persons. I'm responsible for my choices. And violence of any kind, I don't recognize it in the Quran, I don't recognize it in the Bible, I don't recognize it in the Hindu scriptures either. And we really need to stand up and make a fight for that. I think that's enough. That was more than 5 minutes that we had, but you can have the final word, Farida.
I will see, this is big question. You know, we learned in social anthropology that all religion is, Thomas Hylland Eriksen told me, my professor. It was now they called professor. And the knowledge is, look, all religion, this was a professor in the time. But the problem with the religion, for example, Islam, it is one Islam people learn, for example, I said colonist Islam and individual Islam the people have. For example, my grandmother said, I was very afraid of darkness. And he said, just take the name of Allah and go. And my aunt said, you can take just one day Ramadan for your father, and you go to school and make player in football, basketball, and you can drink water. And this is some Islam for everyday life, give courage. But colonist Islam is all Europe, American, and many Islamic countries who live with this. This is just they make people weak and about trussel, what is to trussel? Threats, and make all the war in the world based in an idea. Therefore, the different fundamentalists have an appeal because they take identity from a personal to make it in the public sphere. This is the main issue of all war and injustice in this colonist use of not just Islam, Christian. Look, Judaism, they sent young people to war because they use religion and own benefit. And all the fabric, weapon fabric around the world. Said American make war too much. Therefore, it's too difficult to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Give it a big warm round of applause. So now it's time for the first panel discussion, Women as Pioneers. Please welcome Fatima Bourge, Imtithal Elnajjar, and Mina A Rafiq to the stage. So I'm going to ask questions to the panel, and det går bra. It's not working. Excuse me, can you, technician, the mic?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, so everyone can have one. So, yeah. Okay, good.
This is what.
Okay, so this is the first question. So in the book, 14 Years with Silent Screams, Farida talks about the globalization of pain, suffering, and war. And she said anxiety of war is worse than war itself. And strategies that some women use to treat their pain with passive coping strategies. What is their strategy? Is their survival strategy passive or active? Dear Fatima from Lebanon, what is your answer?
Først vil jeg gratulere Farida, min venninne, for hennes bok. Egentlig jeg skal snakke på norsk, fordi jeg kan ikke så mye engelsk. Det er så bra. Jeg skal snakke om krig i Libanon, fordi krigen var en del av vårt liv. Det startet 1975 til 1990, så egentlig jeg vokste opp med krig. Det var... Ja, takk. Så det var en del av vårt liv. 1994 jeg kom til Norge, da krigen var over. Så egentlig jeg tenkte ikke så mye. Jeg hadde ikke tid til å bearbeide krigen. Beklager. Fordi det er en ny kamp som startet. Det er kampen med nytt land, ny språk. Alt må starte på nytt. Så jeg hadde ikke tid til å bearbeide de traumene. Og særlig at krigen var over, og landet begynte å bygge opp, og så alt er bra. Og det ble glemt. Jeg glemte alle de dagene, og jeg ble lettet. Og det er trygt her, og trenger ikke å tenke på noe. 2003, det var første del av krigen. 2003 jeg dro tilbake til Libanon. Og der jeg studerte sosialantropologi, jeg fikk diplom i samfunnsfag. 2006, det var helt rolig og fred og sånn. plutselig våknet vi av krig igjen. Det var 2006, det krig mellom Hezbollah og Israel. Alle veiene ble sperret, flyplassen ble også bombet, jagerfly opp på oss, og hele landet var helt lammet av krigen. Og den distrikten som vi bodde i, det ble hardt rammet av krig. Så 15 dager, det var verste 15 dager i mitt liv. For jeg tenkte på mine barn som har aldri opplevd det. Så plutselig fant de kjente ingenting. Hva det som bråker oppe i himmelen? Så vi klarte å bli evakuert av norsk ambassadør. Vi kom og ble veldig lettet. Fordi jeg klarte å redde barna mine og redde meg selv igjen. Men det ble blanding av følelser. Det lettelse, og det var også angst for familien min. Det var dårlig samvittighet fordi vi rømte av landet mitt som ble ødelagt. Men jeg hadde ikke helt tid til å bearbeide alle de traumene, fordi noen måneder etter det så ble jeg skadet og blindet. Så begynte en gang ny krig, ny kamp i mitt liv. Så jeg hadde ikke tid til å tenke på det. Til i fjor egentlig. Da begynte en krig til, og det var i Ukraina og Russland. Da de begynte, så jeg kjente de traumene og flashback igjen. Fordi nå sa jeg ikke igjen en krig til. Hva skal jeg gjøre? Jeg følte meg maktløs, avmektig. Hva skal jeg gjøre nå? Jeg kjente det i kroppen. Jeg kjente at jeg begynte å reagere veldig rart. Hamstre ting fra butikken, lukke dørene, tenke, nå skal jeg aldri rømme. Jeg skal være her, jeg skal dø her. Så jeg begynte å tenke, hva det med meg? Hvorfor jeg reagerer sånn? Hvorfor jeg skjelver plutselig? Hvorfor jeg får mareritt hver kveld? Den krigen, som siste krig, det løste ut alle de traumene som jeg fortrengte, og jeg hadde ikke tid til å bearbeide før. Egentlig jeg tenkte, da jeg begynte å tenke på det og bearbeide det og prøve å finne hva årsaken til at jeg skjelver, jeg hamstrer ting, jeg bare samler hermetisk mat og vann og sånn. Det unormalt. Men kjente at det kanskje normal reaksjon i en normal situasjon. Men det var ikke det egentlig. Det var noe som fortrengte lenge siden. Og nå, det kom plutselig i kroppen min, i psykisk og fysisk og sånn. Jeg begynte å tenke på det, begynte å bearbeide det. Nå skal jeg på fredag til legen og få litt hjelp. Så det å kjenne de traumene og skjønne de følelsene, det en del av terapi. Og prøve å ikke tenke så mye på det. Og prøve å gjøre best ut av det. Men det alltid blanding av følelser. Når det krig, når det lettelse at jeg bor i et trygt land, og det sorg fordi landet mitt ødelagt. Det tap, at jeg tapte barndom, jeg tapte alt. Og det også sorg og tap og nostalgi. Og det blanding av følelser. Tusen takk.
Tack så mycket. Då Oh, I start speaking Swedish now. So now it's time for Fatima. The reminder of the question is that what is the strategy of women's coping mechanism? Do you see that it's passive or active, maybe? Thank you.
You said Fatima.
Yeah. Fatima.
It's for Fatima, the question?
Yeah. No, sorry. Imtithal, sorry.
Imtithal.
Okay.
Hi for all. Thanks, Farida, for this nice invitations today to be celebrate with you, your new book. I'm very happy to be today to represent Palestinian women. My name is Imtithal Elnajjar. I came from Gaza. Gaza, it was like the place that's allowed me to see or to learn how to struggling for human rights. In Gaza, it was the same also, like Farida said, that we are not only lived in war, but we are lived the worst, that we are waiting for war every moment. Last war, I've been there, it was in 2009. I've been there for 30 days, pumping all the time. I was lucky a little bit because a lot of people, they killed by pumping, by destroying houses, by many different type of from colonialism, Israel, of course. I ran to Norway. I saw in Palestine how much women they are facing a lot of difficult life under occupation, how to protect herself, her children, her life, and also some part of them they have to fight against some patriarch, some traditional, some violence. So this like similar or typical similar problems that all women at Middle East already have. I learned to take the struggle personality to change it to political. So when I came to Norway, I started to involve myself to be activist to Palestinian case or Palestinian case, yes. So I involved myself to many organizations. I started to know more about women because already I've been there, lived in Palestine. I worked as a social work, so I saw a lot of many different type of women, how they already got this problems like beside the war, yeah. So I started to be also activist for Palestinian, and after that, when Syria come also, a lot of people came from Syria. So I start with a friend, some group of friends. It's from different country, and they also lived also the same situation before. One from Lebanon, Fatima, and from Iraq, and from Syria, and from Egypt, and from different country to collect this Arabic Union for helping women. And we try to help women that they came new to Norway, especially Syrian women. And we start to to give them some information to help them, to try to help them how they can do this by contact, by meeting, by many different way. So that's what the way that I try to healing little bit myself, and try also to help other women for that as much as we can. So I hope that we can trying to collect a lot of women from north to Tause Norway, all the women that they didn't already held themselves before they came and also after they came to Norway. So thank you, Farida, for today. And I'm very happy to become also a member with Farida in this global Farida Sister for Peace and Injustice. So we can trying to do something all together, and we will love also to have a lot of different type of women from different nationalities, so can teach each other for many things. They can take some from our experience. We can take some from their experience. We can correct for them some information. We can try to teach them how they can be a little bit free from many things that they thought that they can stop them to go forward at their life. Thank you very much. Thanks, Farida.
Thank you so much, Imtithal. Imtithal. So now it's time for the last lady of the panel, Mina A. Rafiq. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me here. Thanks for the question. It was a big and a very important one. I will start in the name of humanity. And I want to start with something Farida wrote here, or Farida Jan. Jeg tilhenger av James Larkin, som en gang sa, de store fremstår store fordi vi befinner oss på kne. La oss reise oss. For me, the best religion is humanity. And the key is love. If you love yourself, if you have respect for yourself, for other human beings, the world will be beautiful. You don't need a God. Thank you. And I think we don't have the time to be passive. This is a man-dominant world. And we are women. What is our fault? Being women or not being men? Or being human here? Why everybody is deciding for us, especially for women of Afghanistan, for people of Afghanistan, they are selling us. They took 20 years, they took millions of dollars to change Talib by Talib. Who decided? The superpowers, not the Afghans, not us. And who are the superpowers? Some men sitting over there using religion against us. And we are saying, yes, sir. Okay, decide over us. We are here to die. No, I have nothing with religions to do. Actually, all the religions in my book, in my opinion, has two branches. One, which you have with your own God. Name it, Allah, Jesus, or just nature. Name your religion yourself. Follow it yourself by your heart. Feel free. And the other branches, which men uses, I'm sorry, ma'am, which men uses against us just for power, for wealth. Why so? This is not the time to be passive. We have to be active. If we have a voice here, we should be the voice of people in Afghanistan and other countries, every country. So the key is humanity and being active for humanity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes,
I will see one of the women in the panel was Hiam from Syria. She was in the hospital, and she told me that I gave the voice of Syrian people, and to be active support, we must create a global consciousness. The people die, and it is two different attitudes. Inside the Turkey, it is a lot of help, but in the people in Syria, it is very few. And she said that we need to work together against war.
Thank you so much. And now I would like to ask the audience if there is anyone who has a question to the panel. Please raise your hand now. Anyone? Okay, very well. So then it's actually time for some coffee break. I know Norwegian and Scandinavian people really appreciate this. So let's stretch our legs and have a break. Thank you so much for listening. Let's try to be back in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. گفتم 15 دقیقه. ما انتم من سنام هي صداش ما تشمو قول كذا
آره البته این میشه. بعد من میام اینجا. آره شما همونجا باید یه لحظه من چیز کنم. اوکی رکورد فقط یکم آره نزدیک بلندتر اوکی رکورد
کتاب 14 سال فریادهای کامل توسعه یک کتاب فریادهای کامل انسانشناس هست در اینجا و معرفی گفته شد و همچنین نمایش
چرا میشه؟ فقط باید
کتاب 14 سال فریادهای توسعه هفان که انسانشناس هست در اینجا در این سالن و نمایش گرفته شد که محتوای این کتاب زنان سیاه‌رای یا زنان از بحران هستند که البته مختص به زنان افغان نیست، کشورهای مختلف کشورهای سیمین هستند. در این کتاب داستان شامل که زنان وقتی که میان به کشورهای غربی با چه چالش‌هایی مقابله می‌کنند، در حالی که همچنان با مشکلاتی در کشورهای خودشان داشتن و با تبعیض جنسی که داشتن هنوز کنار نیامدن و در این کشورها زمانی میاد در کناری که محیط خانواده همچنان برشان کرده تمام تبعیض جنسی قرار با فرهنگ‌های کشورهای خودشان براشان باقی مانده. در کنارش کشوری که میزبان است نیست آنها مورد تعصب قرار می‌دهد که در اینجا با مشکلات مختلف روبرو می‌شوند. کنار خود اینا با زنان داریم که در دست کتاب هم دارد. اینو تا خود صحبت کردیم اینجا صحبت کردیم در کشورهای خارجی
Okay, everybody, it's time to begin, so please sit down. Thank you so much. I hope the coffee was good. And the sandwich. So we're waiting for the last people grabbing their coffees. So it is now time for some poetry. I would like everyone to give it a big hand for Mariam Azimi for giving poets. Also, I'm afraid I can also sit.
First the teacher. Hello, hello? Yeah. It's okay? سلام به همه. Good evening. God kväll. Tusen tack, kära Farida, and congratulations. Gratulerer. Mix of languages is obvious now. And I will read a poem which Farida has used in her book. And for my book, De brente hjerte, Zochte del. So you can find it in Deichman's bibliotheek if you want. But I will begin with, I have been told that I have 15 minutes, and I said maybe I use just 5 minutes because it's not too much to read. Then I thought maybe it's good to read for you the same poem in Persian first, because the original language of my poems is Persian, Farsi, Dari. So that's why I'm reading this Tilflukt, or Panah in Persian. First in Persian. Panah. در پهنه امید پنداشتم که میرسم از درد روزگار و ستمهای چرخ تار، از لابلای دود و سیاهی بر بستر زلالتر از هرچی آگهی. یارا شدم براه، یارا شدم بپا، حتی برداشتم ز درد و التهاب هم نگاه. رفتم به سوی روزنک از نور صبحگاه، بگرفته بود رنگ حنایی. آنجا درنگ کردم و بگشودم دو چشم در امتداد وسعت زیبایی پگاه. آنگاه دیدم که میروم ز خودم تند و بی صدا، در دشت دور و شعله‌ور میبرم پناه. Tilflukt, oktober 1983, Aghan. Langs kanten av håpet gikk jeg, møkkete av sorg, og trodde jeg kom til å rekke den reneste sengen du kan tenke deg. 'Den reneste sengen du kan tenke deg'. 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 'Den reneste sengen du kan tenke d Jeg gikk og trodde jeg kunne kle dagene av meg og legge meg i den reneste sengen du kan tenke deg. Jeg sto opp, og jeg gikk til gluggen som lyste rødt i morgenlyset. Morgenlyset bredte seg over veiene der ute. Og på den ene veien der ute så jeg meg selv gå så fort og stille vekk fra meg selv og søkte tilflukt i den brennende åsen jeg kom fra. Det var det diktet, første diktet Farida har i sin bok. Og jeg tror det er i kapittel 6 og ikke kapittel 5, men hvis jeg tar feil så er det... Da beklager jeg bare. Men jeg leser det andre diktet, og det andre diktet er bare på nynorsk i denne boken. Det er blitt brukt bare norsk. Men egentlig diktet er på originalspråket farsi der, og det er gjendiktet i samarbeid med Johannes Gjæråkar. Rest in peace. Våken, eller vaken. Alene satt jeg i senga til nettene, med øynene åpne. Oppdaget jeg hjertet mitt, som lyste opp huset mitt i senga til nettene. I den svarte senga til natta kunne jeg ikke sove. I senga til nettene kan noen i ro og fred holde på med å elske. Kanskje tror du at det er lett, men i senga til nettene skjer mangt et mareritt til syne. Kjærleiken og varmen hans kvar den rolige svenen din i famtaket vanskelig å finne i senga til nettene. Bare kan du lære å være våken. Bare våken. Nå er det bokmål. Bare våken. Håper at jeg har lest det med ikke så mange feil på nynorsk, men uansett, jeg er glad for at, og det er en glede at du har brukt diktet mitt i din bok, og du har mange ganger fortalt meg at mange har likt dette kapitlet. Det er en privilegium å være her. Gratulerer veldig mye, kjære. Alt godt i dag. Takk. Tusen takk.
Tack så jättemycket. Thank you so much. So now it's time for the second panel, The Road to Peace and Happiness. Unfortunately, Daniel Cabral could not come today, but we have another guest, Erlend Wahl, together with Glenn Andersson and Farida Ahmadi. So I should start with some questions. Yeah. So Farida talks about globalization of pain, suffering, and war, and how to turn globalization of peace and happiness. Glenn, can you please talk about your organization Unlimited and how it has helped a lot of people to create meaning to everyday life in the Oslo district, especially Gamle Oslo? Thank you.
Yes, hello. Very pleased to be here, Farida. I'm very proud of being here. So Tøyen Unlimited is an incubator for social entrepreneurs at our own community at Tøyen and Grønland. And we are a group of people that tries to make the Tøyen and Grønland to an even better place to live. And just before Christmas, a tiny, powerful woman appeared. And we have a lot of other type of people, every type of people, from young guys to elderly women, and from all over the world. So I thought I heard that Thomas Hylland Eriksen, your supervisor, he used the word "glocal" sometime. So we have now get to know the global Farida, but we know the local Farida. We think that we have to act local as well as global. So that's our mission.
Yes. Please, Erland, introduce yourself, please.
Can I introduce you?
Yes.
You know, everyday life, I have start my day with to be happy, and this man make me and a lot of other women happy, because the start of dog we use yoga, and the woman call him happiness man.
The global happiness man.
Well, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Farida. It's so nice to get such a good presentation from a wonderful woman. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Alan. I am currently doing social entrepreneur projects with my partner Emilia, who is sitting over there. We we are offering yoga for Tøyen and Grønland. We are also a member of Tøyen Unlimited, which Glenn is working for, and we want to just provide a safe place for people to come after work or any activity that they do. They can come to us and relax, find peace in themselves. We believe that it's very important that the individual, at everyone, us, we start by finding a still space in ourselves, and we can find what we believe in, what is really important for us. And by creating that stillness, for example, during doing yoga, you can also do other things like painting, making music, meditation, go for a walk in the mountain. Then you will find out, it will help you to find out what is important for you, and you can act in your local community, in your own life, in your family, from that still place within. So we definitely agree with Glenn. It's important with local to act local, and also keep in mind the global when you do that.
Thank you so much. If there's anyone who has a question, you can please ask. Otherwise, I would like to thank you so much for the panel.
Can I say something to Farida?
Yes, of course.
Yes, because we have this group of people that are so different and so in opinions and in behaviors and everything. And when you appeared, something new happened in the group. Some deeply respect from the other persons being there, the other unlimiters. So we are very, very proud of having you with us.
Yes, if there's anything, otherwise, thank you so much, and give a round big question. Yeah, of course. Okay.
It's a question. First of all, thank you for a lovely night, Farida. But this question is to Glenn from Tøyen Unlimited. You said that it's a social entrepreneurial organization.
Yeah.
So my question is about how social, what is social, what is considered social, because entrepreneurship is, it can be, I mean, yes, it is global and local, but when you specify yourself as being social, that's the part that I would like to ask about. what is considered social in your entrepreneurship? Thank you.
Okay. I think if your mission is to do better, that's your mission, to do better. And if you still can earn money by doing better, you can exist for a longer time. So that's why social entrepreneurs are driven by doing something different in their society for people or for the environment. And we support the people for doing that and not for earning money, because if they earn money, they have to reinvest the money in their own project or another good project doing good. So that's the difference between social entrepreneurs and ordinary entrepreneurs, I would call it. So I think it's 11% of the working people in France, they are working under social business or social enterprises. So I guess it will be bigger here in Norway as well, because we here in Norway, we have also always trusted the government to take care of us. I don't think we have that kind of opportunity to do that anymore. We have to think otherwise, think social and helping people and make that economy bigger. So that's our mission, and we help people living in Tøyen and Grønland because we think that the neighborhood, people living in the neighborhood can change the neighborhood to the better because they're living there and feeling it on their own body or mind. So, yeah. I don't know if I answer your question, but yeah. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who has a question? So I would like to ask, can you have like more examples of what type of activities you do when you in this organization, or?
We are helping, not helping, we are cooperating with the unlimiters with different kinds of tools that can make their business grow.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. We have a question.
It's fine.
But, you said entrepreneurship, and I got excited. So, do you also work in technology? Let's say, for example, satellite image processing.
It depends on it helps people to live a better life.
To help all the forest and climate change.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
If you are local and live at Tøyen or Grønland, you're very welcome.
I live on Tøyen. Yeah, definitely. And how can I contact you?
Oh, you get the contact information from Farida.
Good, thank you.
So, is there anyone else who has questions? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Amma?
Yeah, I will just say the next also is Unlimited. Sandy, who make dance, is also a part of Unlimited.
Okay. And thinking, can you explain a little bit about Danielle, who was not here, shortly?
I don't know why Daniel not come. The Daniel make exercise in Frisk Van in our district, Gamla Oslo, and it is very good project. But my question is why this kind project who help people, it is nobody know. And all other places, a lot of money, make false, fake hope, false hope. Why? My question from Daniel to explain for us why such exercise to help people to have a good health. It is not small money and nobody know. And the big organization have a lot of money and produce more hate in the society. This is my question to Daniel, but she not have opportunity to come. Yes.
Yes, so Daniel didn't have the opportunity to come, but maybe because you also have your own organizations and you also work with a similar stuff like health, maybe you have some ideas of why it's like this. How can you help to thrive this type of smaller good things for people, health in the community? Do you have any ideas or advice? I was thinking a lot for Erland because you're also doing yoga and she's also doing like health stuff activities.
Yeah, it's a difficult question. I think that there are probably several reasons here, but one of them might be that we need more participation from the people who are living in the neighborhood, so we can kind of get our thoughts about this matter, about we want more activities, we want more things that improves our health, both mentally and physically. We demand kind of these services to be offered by both private actors and by the local government and government. And us as a provider of this type of health service for the public, which is open for all. We don't care where people come from or how much money they make or what they like to listen, what kind of music they listen to. Everyone is welcome. We of course would like this kind of, for example, we teach yoga. We would like it to be more connected, more into the health services in total. So I think partly it's up to us as a local community to get these services more known, and also just by us talking about them to the people we know, maybe those people will talk to 4 of their friends and they will talk to 4 of their friends, and it will kind of spread that way. And unless we take responsibility for our community, then it will just be overshadowed by McDonald's and all the stuff that we don't really need to have a good life. Yeah, that's my thoughts about it.
Stop measuring everything in money.
Yeah. Thank you. I think we have a question from the audience.
Jeg har egentlig noen spørsmål mest til Glenn og Alan. Ja, jeg lurte på om dere kunne si veldig precis på hvorfor valgte dere Tøyen og Grønland. Og om som jeg har forstått dere har sånn jeg må ta det på engelsk. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. My question is for Glenn and for Alan. I just want to know why you choose actually Tøyen and Grønland. That's the question. And number 2 is like you are private. You are not getting kind of like help from Oslo kommune, eller bydel, eller the community of Gamle Bye. And the third question might be if you're maybe where I'm interested to do the same in other part of Oslo, like Stovner, Alna. So I think you should. It seems like you have a really good. So I would like to have it.
Yes, the reason why we started up in Tøyen and Grønland was that one of our founder, Sarah Prosser, she used to work for the Områdeloft. It's a special kind of for Tøyen and Grønland, and that's the reason why we started there. And because of the that area have a lot of challenges in people living in small houses with a lot of kids, and you have the fattigdomsproblematikk, and that's the reason why. But we have started up other places as well, because we have tricked the people with money to help us to scale. So we have now something called Storhaug Unlimited. It's in Stavanger, so Områdeløft place in Stavanger. And we have Søndre Nordstrand, and now just started up at Romsås. So we are scaling, and we are trying to get this kind of incubators all over Norway, actually. So it's just a matter of time, then we'll be there.
Thank you so much for this panel. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now it's time for a dance by Cindy Divina. She represents, she's a Muslim woman, and there is a lot of prejudice about Muslim women. But Cindy is not just any other Muslim woman. She goes against prejudice and shows that is going to show a dance by Indonesian dance. It's an Indonesian dance as a Muslim woman, and she just shows that she is an unlimited woman representing Islam. Thank you.
Just minute, yeah.